Hey guys, this is Doug, and just wanted to do a quick kind of unbox and review. I've shot another one of these, but it turned out to be really long. I think I went too in depth for an unbox and review, so I just wanted to make another one of these real quick. Hence why it's out of its actual wrapping. But I will go over that. So this comes from Weston over there at Infinite Performance. There's his address over there. You can find him online. Um, he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, and he's also got a website. I believe it's infiniteperform.com. You can Google search him and find it for sure. So he does a great job. It's one of the things we love about working with Weston. Is he's meticulous with how he packages everything. So came in a flat rate mailer, wrapped in a bubble wrap envelope, wrapped in a big thing of bubble wrap, and with an AFC, probably not a terrible risk that it was going to break, but he's careful. And I also shipped it out to him carefully. Now, one of the other things, we're going to be up front here, we are not getting paid to do this. We do not get any bonuses. We're not getting a discount for talking about this. We're doing this because it is one of those things. If you're doing a 12 valve and you're going for really getting the most out of it, we've learned that there is a fine line between doing yourself, like we advocate doing. We have done pretty much everything, but there also is a time when it is so good to get somebody who's done more than you have, whether that's a dozen more than you or 100 more than you, but they've got more expertise in helping you get a baseline if something's not quite right. Snowball runs great. That's where this AFC is off of. It goes to a 180 pump that's been maxed out. It's around 480 cc's. We've tinkered with it, not a whole bunch. It was pretty much as set up by Seth, although we did a little bit of tinkering, but not a whole lot. So the reason why we sent this off is Weston is a straight shooter, and I hope he never changes. So if some reason he ever listens to this review, Weston, one of your greatest strengths, man, is telling us how it is, not how we want it to be. And I appreciate that so much. So I was talking to him about some of the things that we're seeing and how, we've got good power, but we've got a setup that should be making better power. There's no question behind it. And one of those things on a 12 valve is tuning. So he said, you know what, send the AFC off to me, and I'll see what I can do with it, see if maybe I can find some tuning mistakes or something like that. So we went ahead and did that. Weston was nice enough. He got us new bolts in here. We had some bolts that were kind of dying a little bit. And then also he went and tapped, so he cleaned those out. He also went ahead and our 1/8 inch MPT air input there had some corrosion in it. So he did his best to clean up the housing and get everything right. He also noticed at the time we didn't have a lathe. You can come right down in here and see this. You can see how nice and clean that is. We cut that with a grinder originally, so he came in here, chucked it into his lathe, and turned it so that would be nice and smooth. So he basically just went through and he did everything as we would like it to have been done. So like if we had all the tools and everything from the get-go, that's all set up how we would want it now. So the thing with this is we were running a governor spring in there. Well, let me circle back real quick. That second point there that I just finished up with was the fact that we love Weston with it, dealing with Weston because he's a straight shooter and he does things the way they ought to be done. It's part of him being meticulous. I love it. I hope he doesn't change. So we had a governor spring in there. We were trying, it would fuel so heavily. We were trying to get control of that and keep it clean. And Weston's thoughts were that maybe we were losing some power by trying to get control without any finesse, by just putting a big spring in there. So this is your pre-boost over here. He set that. And this spring that we're talking about goes behind. There's a diaphragm in here where the air comes in, acts on the diaphragm, just in case you're not familiar with these. And then there's a set of springs in here. And depending on how heavy that spring is, it controls the rate of advance on your AFC foot here. If you happen to have a stock one of these and we're sending it in, he would set it up for full rack travel, just like he tried to help us clean up everything and get it there. So this is a great, if you just happen to have a stock one and you kind of want to get a great baseline set up from somebody professionally who's done hundreds of these, consider using Weston over there at Infinite Performance. So we had this governor spring in here. It worked and we had it tuned fairly well, but Weston's thoughts was maybe we're leaving a little on the table. So he went through here. He's got a special spring setup that he uses in here to try to get the fueling rate right. And another important note that he told us, once you get that correct, said, rather than using full manifold pressure there, sometimes modifying that manifold pressure and bringing it down with like a snubber of some kind will help you get your fueling rates more accurate. Because you're not trying to use a governor spring. You can use a much softer spring with less air going to it. Makes absolute perfect sense. Nobody had ever said that to us before, and the secret always was, hey, throw a bigger spring in there. So modifying the air pressure is something that he does and advocates for in some applications. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. Not all applications. That is up to him and the person trying to figure out what's going on. So we are happy to have this. We hope that this is useful to somebody out there who's maybe you have an AFC housing and you've put tons of time into it and you just can't quite get it set up, and maybe you want to get it sent out to somebody who can give you a solid baseline and might see if if there's something glaring like a shim or a washer or something that's blocking you from getting full rack travel or full travel of the AFC foot in this case. So it's just about being wise with what you've got, and that's hopefully what this will help you do, to show that we're not afraid to show our mistakes. We're not afraid here to say, hey, we don't do a terrible job of tuning, but we also have gotten to situations where we spent tons of hours, like on the black hole, man. We had probably 20 hours of tuning on that thing, and it's still not right. So there's a point at which discretion is the better part of valor. Weston has a good phrase that I picked up that I heard him say a couple months ago, and that is, some people, well, let's see, I don't want to kill his phrase, but some people will never know the difference between good and good enough. So, like with that, we're the kind of people that there is a line that is good enough, but we're not going for good enough, really. We are going for great. Some people get stopped at good or good enough, and they never get the full potential. And for some reason, maybe they can't. Maybe it's their daily driver and they have no ability to test and tune and dink with it. We have the ability to do that, and we want to get it as close to perfect as possible. So we took the advantage. We threw another AFC housing on Rusty's truck and sent this off to Weston. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to do a completely different video where we actually break down an AFC housing with good lighting and good video and walk through what's going on here. That won't be like your master class on AFC housings, but by golly, I'll give you a better overview than some of the videos out there. All right, hope y'all enjoyed it. Happy wrenching, and we will see y'all around.